Hello, hello, hello. It's Anne Lewis, your independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, based on the Sunshine Coast here in Queensland, Australia. Tonight I'm going to be showcasing what I call an oldie but a goodie, which is the post-it note. So I'll just show it to you. You'll get a far better view in a second. Adios. So tonight there's a few things happening. It's also the last chance sale has been updated, and some of the products I'm using tonight, not all of them, are actually listed on sale at a pretty good price. And I'll explain that to you as well. Now, this is the this is one of those projects that you can use what's in your stash, and they're the ones I've been concentrating on lately so that you use up your stash. And that's what we all want to do. And we all have such beautiful papers and products, and sometimes we don't use them as much as we would like. So let's get started. I'll put you down to my desk and I'll show you. Well, I'll first off show you what inspired me to actually make this project. Now, this was given to me by Christine, which I absolutely love this. This is using the Peaceful Garden Sweet Collection. So it's got this beautiful dove. It's got bring a little letter, which I also like. It's got these two circles on it, which I think absolutely make this amazing. So this circle is on the front. I'm hoping you can see that, but that's the circle on the back. And so she's done, I haven't actually copied Christine's idea. And in fact, mine probably is completely different measurements than hers. But this is the one that got me inspired because I just loved it. And the thing I like about post-it note holders is that most people will be looking forward to them and they actually use them. I use every post-it note that I've actually been given. And I can already see that mine's a little different than Christine. She's kept hers exactly the same size as her post-it notes. Mine's got a little overhang and a little border. So, I mean, you can change up my measurements to make it however you like. I like them both. But anyway, this is the one that I'm doing tonight. And as I said, you'll have no trouble changing it up. Hello, Glenda. How are you? Kiko's not here. I'm not sure where she is. So let's get started. So now I forgot to say also is that if you place an order with me during the month of December, I'll also send you a PDF tutorial for this project. Doesn't mean tonight you won't be getting measurements, etc. But this is something that you can put away or refer to, which makes it so much easier than trying to write the measurements as I give them. So let's get started. So I've got my trimmer here and I'm going to be using the Painterly Pears Designer Series paper. Love, love, love the colours. And I mean, you can just see how beautiful these are. And they've got it like a plain, I'll say a B-side. I mean, they're all gorgeous. I love this one so much so I haven't actually used it because you know me, I sometimes don't use my favourites. And this is one perfect for scrapbooking, but also for card making. And you can divide this up into, I'm just thinking, 12 pieces. So all this paper, which is not on sale in the last chance sale, is a favourite of mine. Now, I'm also going to be showing you the Perfectly Pairs stamp set, which is actually 30 has been reduced from $35 down to $24.50 on the last chance sale. And also, I'm not using the dies. Oh, yes, I am. I'm using this tiny little die here. but the dies have been reduced from $47 to half price to $23.50. Now, I do want to remind you, because I know a few people have been a bit confused by this. If you buy these products separately, you'll get that discount. If you buy them as a bundle, the bundle has not been discounted. So it's a trick for the unwary. So just be aware, and that's why I didn't want you to get confused by what I'm saying tonight. Rightio. So I'm going to be using some Timid Tiger. How bright is this colour? And I'm going to be cutting a piece of cardstock, 8.5 inches by 3.5. Now, if I was going to be doing Christine's version, I would actually, I'm just looking for my ruler. Here it is. She's done it at 3 inches. So it's really easy to change up. You would just have to change the measurements completely. So it's going to be 8.5 inches by 3.5. So I'm going to cut my 8.5 inches first. Now, if you're making lots of them, I would probably do just the 3-inch version. Now, so I'm going to cut down a 3.5 inches. So it's very, very simple. Just close that back up. So here's my piece. And then I'm going to score at 1.5 inches. And let's score. Let's keep that cutting blade out of the way. So 1.5 inches, just checking my measurements. Oh, let's get that straight. 1.5 inches. Hi, Marianne. It's going to be something that's very, very useful. 2 inches. 5 inches. And 5.5 inches. Now, the good thing about this is I don't have to extend this. Not that it's difficult, but it just makes it a little easier, especially when I'm going live. So I will have score line, score line, score line, score line. So let's grab a bone folder. Now, a post-it note holder. I mean, post-it note is a brand name, but you can actually buy generic ones. And if I was making a lot of these, I would actually be using a generic one. So this is how it looks. And I'm hoping that I've done this right. I'm going to have to re-measure that, make sure. I have this terrible suspicion I didn't cut it 8.5 inches, but I might have. No, I didn't, see. I could tell, couldn't I? So I'm going to have to grab some more paper. I'll make a different version of that. I won't throw that paper out. Got a bit carried away. I didn't look what I was doing. So let's score at 8.5, sorry, cut at 8.5 inches by 3.5 inches. As I said, all that'll be used up. It's not difficult. And then, just to help you out, I'm scoring at 1.5 inches. Look at that. 1.5 inches. 2 inches. 5 inches. 5.5 inches. So it's pretty easy, especially if you've got a trimmer that has a scoring blade, which is what our Stampin' Up trimmer has. So now it's looking a little better, I'm hoping. Where's my Where's the other one? And I'll show you the difference. Yeah, I could actually tell it wasn't right. Now, so I'll show you what a post-it note looks like, just in case you're unaware, which I'm sure there's not too many that you are, because they're kind of those household items. That looks better. Hello, so this will just sit in here, and it only just fits in, so it's perfect size. Now, I know the yellow doesn't look as pretty as this. This one looks amazing. However, it will still look good. So now I'm going to cut my designer series paper. Wait a minute. Pink. And I'm going to be cutting my designer series paper at 3 1/4 inches wide. Oh. Right. Now I keep this all in one order. So 3 1/4 inches wide. All the pieces are 3 1/4 inches wide. My first one is 1 1/4. Hoping you can see that. Yes, you can. Let's bring my trimmer back. 1 1/4. So there's my first piece. The next piece is 2 3/4. So this way the pattern continues. Now, if you're not someone who needs the pattern to continue, you can just zip down and it wouldn't make any difference. But I kind of like that finish. Now, the next one is 3/8 of an inch. So I'll keep this in some sort of order. 3/8 of an inch. 2 3/4 again. And 3/8 again. Oops. I'm back here. This is easy to cut out. I'm going to show you how to do this in bulk, because if you're like me, you're going to need more than one of these. This is how it sits. So this piece is this little piece here. So I want to make sure I've got it running the right way, just like that. This is such a quick project, and that's why I liked it. Right. I'll just show you this. Then I'm putting a piece on here, but I'm going to work my way around. I think this is the next piece. No, it's not. Is it this piece? I don't. It's that piece. So it's pretty. Ooh. That's what I said. This is such an easy project. And the other thing I like about this project is I kept mine really simple. I want to show you something that I did a little different on this one. Now, this one I did at 1/4 of an inch, and I just felt it was a little too thin. So I added another 1/8 of an inch to this piece. And then I think it's this piece here. Well, by now, this is coming down this way. As I said, don't want to pick a really hard pattern. This one you're lucky to be able to see. even how the pattern goes. I don't. And in reality, you know, when I've finished this piece, I'm just about finished. Oh, fingers have got a little sticky. And that's what we want at this time of year. They're really easy projects that we can zip up. Now I could give this to my neighbours, I could give it to friends, I could give it to my colleagues. And you can dress it up, that front little bit here, you can dress it up as Christine has, or as you saw, I kept it fairly simple. Now, this is my post-it notes. And for those that don't know, post-it notes have an adhesive at the top. I'm sure you all know that. But just in case you're not like me and live at Officeworks, here's my, I'm using tear and tape on the back here. Now, I just do this with my tear and tape, keeps it nice and neat. I know, little OCD. Glenda says these would be good for your handbag, and I agree. Now, if I was doing them to go in a handbag, I'd probably keep it without the border on it, like Christine has. As I said, this is such an easy project. You can change it up to suit how you think it's going to be used. I was thinking this more sitting on your desk at home, or sitting, if you're like me, and think of things in the middle of the night next to the bed. Now, I always burnish that down because it makes it easier to pick this up, backing up. Who's ready for Christmas? Oh, just got to line this up, which is a little hard, as you always know, with a camera in there. I know. So that's how easy that was. Now, I forgot. Oh, God, I had this out nice and handy. Got some little Velcro dots. Where are they? Hidden away. Wait a minute. It's the old story. They were right on top when it started. Here they are. I don't. So these are the Velcro dots. These ones are Velcro brand. So they're thin dots, perfect for paper craft projects, thin and clear. So there's 56 in each pack at 3 1/8 inches, or just under 1 centimetre. So there's a really easy way of doing this. Now, there's two sides. I'm hoping you'll be able to see. There's one that's solid, one that is a little clearer. You want one of each. So I've used this, maybe this one. Yep, this and this one. So it's very simple. I just want that to close. I want it to be nice and square. There's a simple way of doing this. It doesn't matter which one goes on top. Oh, they are joined together. So I'm just going to put that one. Just have to make sure it's where I want it. So in the center. And then I just put this one directly on top. Right. Get this nice and square. Hopefully you can see how easy this is. Press it. Get those out of the way. I mean, what did I say? 56. So it's pretty good value. I got those from Spotlight. So you can see it went exactly where I needed it to be. Now, I do want to. I kept this really, really plain. The front. Well, maybe I've oversold exactly how plain, but it's pretty plain. So I'm going to be using these Secret Sea, and then I've got a few bits and pieces here. Secret Sea ink, and I've die cut using the Perfectly Pairs dies. So just that little one there. Now, most of the time I would actually stamp first, die cut second, but in this case, hopefully, I've got a few spares anyway. Hopefully, I'll be able to just plop this down pretty easy. So perfect. Now, remember, I didn't want this to pop up too much, so I've kept it pretty flat. So I'm not going to pop this up with dimensionals, but you could. Just depends on how you think it's going to be used. So I just like that simple hello. I've got some little bits of bling, which is out of this same suite, called Low Profile Sparkle Dots. As you see, they're pear coloured. And pop out. Now, I don't use my little putty end very often, but let's see if I can here. So I'm going to use, because I haven't used any of these here. Got my, let's see if that works. I know, yeah, I think that's been sitting out a little long. I know. Perfect, see? I should use it more often. That one. So I'm using the Secret Sea colour, or what I would call the Secret Sea colour. Need a third one. Maybe over here. I don't know. So that works really well. Now, because I've kept it so plain on the front, even though that designer series paper is pretty fancy, I like stamping the inside so that when they open it up, it's a little bit of a wow. So I'm going to be using the old olive ink, and I'm going to do this little pear here, which is so gorgeous. And this is one of those stamps. There's just two-step stamping. Easy as. You're just not going to believe how easy this is. So it's got then to colour it in. It's a little hard when I'm trying to line this up, but it'll be fine. Look at that. And then I'm going to add just a few little background dots, which come with that stamp set. And then it comes with this really nice sentiment. A good friend is a gift. I don't. So how quick did that take? Hardly any time at all. And I think they look stunning. So I've already done two now. I need a few. But let's show you how to do this as in bulk. So this time, I'm not going to put these together. I'm just going to show you the cutout. So this time I've picked 12 by 12. And I'm going to cut it back to the 3 inches. So you'll get these measurements in that PDF. So I'm just going to remember, I want it to 8.5. So let's cut off that 8.5 first off. And you'll just see how easy this is to make lots of them. And that's what I wanted to show you. So down to 8.5. Now, I want to be able to score across, so I don't have to individually score. So I'm going to turn this around and I'm going to score at 1.5 inches. Hopefully my memory is working on this. 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches, 2 inches. 5 inches. And 5.5 inches. So I'm going to get 4 out of this one sheet of paper. So then I'm going to cut. Wait a minute, I'm going to close these up because you know what happens with me. Now remember, I'm cutting this down to 3 inches, just as a change up. Now, if I was smarter, I would have actually had used the bone folder on all of those as well. Anyway, I didn't, but you could easily do that. See how quick that was, and you got 4 bases done. And you can do the same and cut. So there's 1. Hi, Glenda. How are you? Oh, Myrtle. Sorry. Yeah, so how easy is this? And it's just the perfect time. 2. 3. That's what I mean. This is such a quick project. Still made with love, of course. Oh, missed that. So I have 4 bases done in the space of a couple of secs. And I'll show you. Just add this in here. So you'll see it fits perfectly. Remember that this is the smaller size. And then all I have to decorate it exactly the same as I did these, but I'd make it 1/4 inch shorter on the side. So instead of being 3 1/4 inches, they will be 3 inches. I'm going down the side. So how easy is this project? And tomorrow, not tonight, I have to say, I'll finish all these off and I'll have quite a few as gifts to leave for neighbours, etc. Hi, Nola. I'm kind of finished. It was such a quick project. As I said, if you place an order, you'll get a written tutorial, which makes it so much easier. But I've given you all the measurements tonight, which makes it really simple. So thank you very much. Remember, we're getting close to Christmas. I've got another live this Friday with Christine where we're going to be showcasing how to package some Christmas cards up as gifts. So I'm interested in what Christine's going to do. I know what I'm going to be making. Wait a minute, I'll throw you back to me. I know what I'm going to be making. Well, I hope I do. I haven't made it for years and years and years, but it's one of my favourite projects. So, rightio, back and I'll show you. So there's the 2. So one's the sample. That's the back of them. And then I will show you, that's what the inside, can you see that? Hopefully, yeah, now you can see it. That's what the inside, the first post-it note actually looks like. So such an easy project. So who would actually make this project? I don't always show quick and easy ones very often, but I thought this was the perfect time because it's getting down to how do I say it? Panic time. Rightio. So here we go. And as I said, you'll get all the measurements for the bulk cutout and also the one that I've showcased tonight. And I'm very, very happy with this project. Hopefully you'll get to make it as well. If you need any help, don't hesitate to give me a call. Rightio. Bye for now. Leave a comment whether you like this project and whether you're going to make it or not. Bye for now. See you Friday, 10 a.m.